Hello and welcome to Squirrel Plays. Today we'll be having a chat about where I think D&D 5th edition falls short. In other words, how 5e fails for me personally. Obviously my opinions are just that, they're opinions, they're not gospel, and we're here to have some discussion, so by all means please do share your thoughts down below. Now, instead of listing a bunch of different things in a single video, I'm going to focus on one topic at a time. Today's video will be about challenge and how it seems Wizard of the Coast is afraid of it. So stretch out those hands, pop your fingers, and get those comments ready because here we go. Alright, was hoping for a little more of a transition there. From what little I've experienced playing 5e as a GM, it seems pretty clear to me that the game was not designed to challenge the players. The manual talks about danger all the time, but considering all the tools the players are given simply for existing, it seems that anytime danger comes about, the players have an easy way out. I've brought up this issue on other platforms before, and oftentimes I'm told that either I must be a horrible GM and just want to make my players suffer, or I'm just bad at GMing in general and don't know how to balance anything. I might be a horrible GM, but I don't want the players to suffer. I want the players to be challenged, at least somewhat. Why? Because overcoming challenges feels good. Believe it or not, it's why we play games. Even the simplest of games have challenges for you to overcome. When those challenges aren't enough, we come up with our own challenges to increase the difficulty. The Sims 4 is a game that I would consider to have absolutely no challenge whatsoever to it due to how it handles difficulty. The Sims 4 community in turn has come up with numerous challenges of their own because they enjoy the game but still hunger for some sort of challenge. Call me crazy, but I think it's in our nature. We enjoy being challenged because it feels good when we overcome it. Of course, some people like more of a challenge than others, and that's okay. Some people like Dark Souls, and some prefer to chill out in The Sims with their own little self-made challenges. To each their own. That's why D&D 5e might be right up your alley. Even if you consider yourself an individual that doesn't like challenge, I'd still encourage you to try some other TTRPGs before writing them off, because a GM can always soften things up for you, but that's a bit off topic for this video. However, with that said, if a GM can always soften things up for you, can they not also make things more difficult? Well, yes and no. If your character is in possession of a magical spell that can turn anything to dust simply by thinking it, the GM is going to be a bit limited on what they can do to challenge you. It doesn't mean they can't, but it severely limits the way they can. Granted, 5e isn't that imbalanced despite feeling like it sometimes. My point is, the more the player gets to increase their power, the less options the GM has to challenge them. And this is why I prefer something like EZD6, where characters don't level up. Their power gains are governed by the GM through equipment, gear, magical items, and whatever abilities the GM might decide to throw their way. The GM gets to set both the difficulty and complexity of the game. In 5e, characters level up, and when they level up, they are given huge boosts in power simply for existing. The rogue can increase how much damage they do with sneak attacks, martial classes can attack more often, and spellcasters learn new spells. Again, all of this is just for not dying, which is a pretty easy thing to do in 5e, and it only gets easier each time you level up. But is it really that bad? Well, I certainly think so. Let's have a look at some of the tools the players get just for leveling up. Meaning the GM doesn't really have a say in the matter unless he wants to start banning things. At a mere level 3, a bard can get an ability called Silver Tongue. When it comes to speech checks, this ability won't let you roll anything under a 10. That means if you roll 1, 2, 3, or all the way up to 9, it would be treated as a roll of 10. That means you get to add your bonuses after the roll. So if you had a +4 to persuasion, that means you are unable to roll anything under 14. It's kind of silly, isn't it? But wait, as they say, there's more. At the same mere level 3, the bard also gets a little thing called expertise, which allows them to double their proficiency bonus on 2 skills of their choice. Suddenly, that +4 becomes a +8. Now you're unable to roll anything under 18, and at this point, why even bother rolling? That doesn't reduce the challenge of a social encounter, it just outright removes it. Not being able to roll below 10 plus whatever your modifiers are means you have 0% chance of failing that roll. The dreaded Nat 1 has no effect on you. And before you say it, yes, I am aware that persuasion does not equal mind control. I just find the skill annoying. Even the smoothest of talkers have bad days and will fumble their words. Even your beloved hero Matt Mercer had to pause and stumble a little bit when asked during an interview about the OGL drama before his wife jumped in to save him. Mistakes happen even to the best of us. But with Silver Tongue, mistakes just aren't an option. Now, what about Darkvision? I know there's some arguments about how it doesn't really give you full vision in the dark and things are colorless or still hard to see, but I mean, come on, man. You can basically see in the dark. And what's hilarious is that almost every single race in the game gets it. It's so silly that I personally don't even bother with the light in my games. But my point is, darkness is a challenge. If you can't see, well, things can be a bit difficult, can't they? So what's 5e's solution to this? Give almost every single race the ability to see in the dark, which again, doesn't reduce the challenge, it just outright removes it. How about languages? I've always found it a bit strange how easily characters are able to pick up not only a second language in 5e, but multiple languages. Somehow, your character is able to be extremely fit and well trained with a weapon, and maybe even a little bit of magic as well, and also speaks 3 languages? That's not just above average, that's well beyond average. With a party of 3 people, and people that were trained warriors and adventurers, mind you, you can have well over 10 languages at your disposal. And unless I'm missing something, when you know a language in 5e, it's assumed you're fluent in it both speaking and writing. What about polymorph? Actually, you know what? I think I'll just skip that one because that shit's stupid. Alright, so let me just speedrun a few more items to get my point across. What if you try to make food resources a challenge? Well, hello, good berry. Instantly summon 10 berries in your hand, with one single berry providing enough nourishment to sustain a creature for an entire day. Level 1 spell, by the way, or you could just be a warforged and not have to worry about it. What if you're tired and need rest, but you're behind enemy lines or deep down in a dungeon? Tiny hut will keep you safe. Plop down an impenetrable dome large enough to protect you and 9 other people. Lasts an entire 8 hours, so go on and get yourself some good sleep. Did the enemy cast a spell you don't like? Counterspell, give them the good old no you. Trying to stick your head around the corner, but it seems a little dangerous? Just throw your familiar out there and get a perfect view of everything. If it dies, oh well, just resummon him. Don't like that monster in particular? Banish. And all that is ignoring the monstrosity that is... And all that is ignoring the monstrosity that is the wish spell. My point is, every time a challenge is created, 5e gives the players a tool to not reduce the challenge, but to just outright remove it. It's scared to challenge the players. By all means, 5e is a superhero fantasy power trip, and hey, if that's what you want, that's totally fine. Like I said at the beginning of the video, some people like Dark Souls, some people like The Sims. It's whatever floats your boat. However, you probably should recognize 5e for what it is. It's not some super tactical, gritty, hardcore concept. It's tabletop Skyrim, pure and simple. And hey, I got a lot of enjoyment out of Skyrim, so you do you, champ. This is just one of the ways that 5e fails for me. So why bring it up? Because content, that's why. But also because I think it's worth talking about. I did some researching while working on this one, meaning I had to dive into the likes of Reddit and some other forum sites about spells and whatnot that people tend to ban at their tables. There were definitely some common things that got banned as well as some surprising ones, but there was one thing in particular that I noticed while reading through all the comments. There was a certain type of people that would turn their virtual noses up to the idea of banning things from the game. They said it made you a bad GM and you basically need to learn to get good and do a better job. However, the hilarious part was that each and every one of those goobers admitted in other comments that they have a gentleman's agreement not to abuse X, Y, and Z. Which, come on now, isn't that just banning something without giving it an official signature? If you're having to make a rule not to abuse something, you're just saying that they can't fully use it as intended. So I guess soft banning is fine by them. My point is, it seems like a lot of people out there have plenty of issues with the rules as written for plenty of spells and abilities due to how they make a GM's life pretty miserable. And before you start commenting your thoughts below, allow me to bring in today's shout out. This one goes to Captain Sassy69. They subscribed recently, and all I can say is,
nice.
That's all. It just gave me a good chuckle. Anyway, let me know your thoughts and what you think about how 5e challenges its players. How do you, as the GM, challenge them and deal with the constant undoing of challenge that their abilities bring? Do you have any fun polymorph stories you'd like to share? Got any tips and tricks you'd like to tell the other GMs out there about how they can better challenge their players without straight up making their lives miserable or taking things away from them? You know what to do. Stay safe, have fun.